What do you think makes Trax unique?
It's one of those things where Trax is for everyone, but it's its own thing. It's just a dive bar. You just really never know what you're going to step into. I mean, you can go on a Monday morning, it could be no seats available. You can go on a Friday, and people are standing, eating wings in the rain outside. I mean, it's just got its own vibe and thing that's really hard to recreate.
Hey there, Omaha. Welcome into another episode of Restaurant Hoppen. I'm your host, Dan Hoppen, and I'm so excited to talk to these guys today because they are the owners of an Omaha institution. In fact, it's going to be celebrating its 60th birthday? We'll go with birthday, anniversary, whatever you want to call it, in 2025. And its owners are taking it even further into the future. It is beloved for its chicken, but I am excited to dive into even more of what makes this bar and restaurant iconic. Today I have with me the owners of Trax Lounge, Mark Pogge and Dylan Foster. Guys, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. We're excited.
Okay, I'm excited to talk to you because this is a place that had been on my radar literally for years and obviously has a stellar reputation. People kept telling me, you gotta go. And it's one of those, I've got a list in my phone, and it was always near the top, and I just, for whatever reason, didn't get out. And then I finally got out, and I came 2 times within, like, a month, because I was just like, this is fantastic. And I could come back tomorrow and have many more things that I want to try. But we're not here talking about me and my eating. I want to talk to you guys. When you are describing Trax to somebody, you're trying to tell somebody about the restaurant, what is it that you feel like sets it apart from not just other bars or sports bars, but really just other restaurants? What makes Trax unique?
Well, been around since 1965, so kind of everybody has a little story about Trax. What kind of sets us apart is, we make all of our sauces from scratch. A lot of our wings kind of set us apart. We never par cook them. We go straight from fresh, raw to cooked. And then what we kind of do, a lot of places kind of do it now, is we char and double dip them. That's kind of what we're known for. You pick a buffalo base. We have 3 different buffaloes: mild, hot, and then twisted. Twisted being our spiciest. It's got a nice kick to it. We use ghost peppers from Volcanic Peppers here in town.
There you go.
Kind of gives it a unique flavor there. You pick one of those buffalo sauces, and then you get it charred and double dipped into another sauce. One of our most popular second sauces is like the garlic parmesan. That's our most popular, but all of them are really good. Then our roasted chicken is kind of what we're known for. It says it on the sign, it's the world's best chicken, so it's got to be true. We brine it in house, roast it, and then we have our own batter that we make in house as well. Really kind of sets us apart. Great flavor to that. The broaster really seals in the juice as opposed to just frying it. It's like a pressurized cooker, so it kind of sets us apart there. Not too many places in Omaha have that.
Okay, well, we'll get into the food and specifically the chicken more, but first I just kind of want to touch overall on what made you guys want to purchase this place, because you've been owners for a little over, about a year and a half now, as we're recording this. June of 2023 is when you assumed ownership. What interested you in buying this place, and like what excites you so much about having it now?
Well, so my brother, Justin Pogge, he's also one of the owners. He bought a house in his early 20s, and I lived in his basement on 60th and Poppleton, and we used to walk there all the time and got to know the old owner, and she was great, and she kind of always said if she's looking to sell, we were like, talk to us first, come to us, because we've always been in the restaurant business. My brother hasn't. But he's always wanted to get in, kind of get his hands on it. And, for 10 years, we've been going in and out, chatting with her, getting to know, not the recipes, but getting to know the food, falling in love with the food. And then all of a sudden she was ready to sell. And, I knew I had a partner that me and Dylan have worked together forever, and I was like, if we're gonna do this, I need my right hand man. So yeah, that was kind of the story of how we fell into it.
Do you remember those conversations, Dylan? I mean,
yeah.
It's one thing to be talking to the owner and being like, oh yeah, if you ever do sell the place, like, keep us in mind. But then for her to actually be like, oh, well, that's actually on the table. Like, what were those conversations that you guys had like?
It was a lot of back and forth, and then a lot of like wishful thinking, because something like that, a lot of things have to fall in place. And I feel like everything at that time going into it just kind of fell into the right hole for us, and we just took it and ran with it.
Right time, right place kind of thing.
Was there almost just like a holy crap moment where you guys are just like, is this actually happening? We've talked about this for so long.
Yeah.
If we're gone for one day, we're like, holy crap, we need to get back in there. No, it's been fun. I mean, Trax is just so unique in its own way, and then being able to be a part of a winning product and have great employees that we've inherited and we still work with, and just everything has been great. I mean, we had the experience and the tools going into it before we took over that it's really helped us kind of excel at what we're doing, because we already gathered all the tools and necessary steps that we needed.
You said Trax is so unique in its own way. What do you think makes Trax unique?
It's one of those things where Trax is for everyone, but it's its own thing. It's just a dive bar. You just really never know what you're going to step into. I mean, you can go on a Monday morning, it could be no seats available. You can go on a Friday and people are standing, eating wings in the rain outside. I mean, it's just got its own vibe and thing that's really hard to recreate.
Yeah. We're literally a basement of an old house.
Yep.
So it's true. Yeah.
It's the old building, it's got its headaches, but yeah, we made it work.
I'm sure it has its headaches for you guys. It's like charm for everyone else, and for you guys it's just like, oh my gosh, everything is so out of date. But but it works.
Oh yeah.
Just in case someone is listening to this or watching this and hasn't been to Trax, located off like 60th and Pacific, kind of that general area.
Yeah, just south of Pacific, more closer to Woolworth, 60th and Woolworth.
Fair enough, 60th and Woolworth. Woolworth. That's a hard word to say.
Woolworth.
So Trax obviously is a bar. If somebody wants to come in and just have a drink, they can certainly do that. But how important was it for you guys, especially, you mentioned longtime members of the restaurant industry, to keep the food at that high level where somebody like me, I'm not going to bars very often, but if you're serving legit food, you can get me in there. And that's what you guys have done. You've kept the food at a level where it's not just like, here's some chicken wings and a greasy burger to soak up all the alcohol you're drinking, but this is like a restaurant destination type of place. How important was it to keep the kitchen at that high of a level?
Oh, it's so important. I mean, you can go get a drink anywhere, but, the food is what kind of brings people back. I could, get a Busch Light anywhere in town and, then I'm hungry for some good wings. But if I have a bad experience with the food, my wife and we're not going to go back. We'll get a Busch Light somewhere else. She's not much of a Busch Light drinker, but I am.
You'll drink it for her.
I'll drink it for her. But yeah, the food though, the thing about Omaha is there's so many great places to get wings, so we got to keep our product up top. So yeah, I think that's what kind of keeps us going.
So I'm just curious because you kind of mentioned some of the limitations that you have in that space, and I think just with a bar in general, I think a lot of bars have just some inherent challenges. Usually you're working with a smaller kitchen, certainly than you'd find in a bigger restaurant. I don't know how to put this delicately, but like the top chefs in Omaha are the top of the class graduating from culinary school, they're probably not looking to come into a bar right away. Like serving legit food at a bar has some real constraints, and yet you guys do it. How do you overcome some of those obstacles and continue to serve food that you're proud to serve?
Well, it's definitely not easy. Space is so valuable where we're at. that everything has to have the right place for us to bring it in, sell it, prep it. So I think we just stick to what we do best, and that's selling the products that we do. It's just really, it comes down to the room and the space. I mean, we just have a great group of guys. I mean, everyone back there tries to do their best to serve the best product they can, and just kind of, I mean, problems are always going to be problems no matter where you go. So it's just how you deal with them, I suppose. Not really much to it besides just, addressing the issue and just working around it and finding the right tools to do that.
Every once in a while we get asked, like, oh, why don't you bring on this and bring on that? And it's like, well, if we bring on this and that, I got to get rid of that and that. So it's like, where do we put it? Yep. Since we took over, we've added, 2 different large freezers. We added lunches, so we had even more product that we had in, and doing a little more in volume. So it's like we're took up some of our dining area for a freezer. And it's kind of part of the gig with this tiny kitchen. It's like a closet we call a kitchen.
I think for you guys, I'm sure it's a pain in the butt a lot of times, but I think it also works in your advantage a little bit, because I love that your menu is just one page.
Oh, yeah.
It's wings, fried chicken, burgers, some appetizers, like maybe a couple salads, but like your focus is very honed in. I feel like that's the downfall of a lot of restaurants, and specifically bars, is they feel like they have to offer everything, and you're reading a book to get through it.
Yep.
But when you've got maybe 20, 25 dishes on your menu, or maybe even less than that, and they're all in pretty specific categories, you get those dishes down so they're really, really good, and they're airtight. You guys are both nodding, so I feel like you feel like that's a part of your success as well. Maybe the kitchen's small, so we can't do a ton of things, but maybe that's good that we can't do a ton of things.
Yeah. We don't want to be the Cheesecake Factory where you're...
Oh, my gosh. You're peeling through a book.
Yeah, you change your mind 8 times before you actually pick your meal.
Oh, my God.
And it really allows you to, hone in on those skill sets. You just sell what you do best, and you just keep getting better at doing that. I mean, that's really, at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Okay, so what do you do best? Is it chicken wings or roasted chicken?
It's a toss-up. I think our top sellers are wings. It's we won a couple awards, maybe taken second a couple times. Still a little feeling
salty
that
about that.
Yeah, a little salty about that
Sarah
one.
Baker Hansen bracket.
Oh yeah, no, that was great. We got great exposure on that, and it came down. There was in the finals, there was like 3,700 votes, and it came down to 2 votes.
So, I knew it was single digits. I didn't know it was 2.
2 votes.
Wow.
I wish I had 2 more friends out there.
But then I was actually going back through your Facebook posts and research for this, and you guys didn't end up winning, but in celebration of the event, you went to Oscars, who was the winner, and had some wings there. And I was just
love what Oscars does.
That right there is fantastic.
That's what it's about, though. It's the camaraderie, and the business is already hard as it is. Don't even make it harder. You go out there, support everybody.
Yeah, the Omaha food scene's awesome. So they came. It was funny. They actually came to Tracks while we went there, and we didn't know that until they
Seriously?
came back. So that was nice. Yeah, we got to talk with the bartender there, and he was like, "Oh, the owner's going there right now," and so that was pretty cool.
Nice. A little wing trade-off.
Yes, yes.
So I want to talk, because you mentioned this off the bat, Mark. You talked about how there's no freezing wings, there's no par baking wings. The wings just go straight from the fridge to the fryer. What's the advantage to that? Because I'll watch diners, drive-ins, and dives or whatever, and they'll par bake the wings and then say they're going to refry them again to get them extra crispy. Why do you guys use the method that you do?
Well, I can always, if I go to somewhere and get wings, I can always tell if they're fresh. If they par cook them, they're a little tougher, a little more chewy. Ours kind of fall off the bone a little bit more, and it's kind of a big difference. I think people I'm with, they're always like, "Are these par cooked?" I'm like, "Yes, they are." But it kind of falls off the bone when they're straight fresh to the fryer. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, you just get the quality stays there throughout the whole process. You don't lose anything along the way. I mean, it's just the product that we roll with and we want to sell at our establishment. And sometimes, you get a little bit of the longer waits, but that's just something that we do and probably going to always stick to it.
Okay, Mark, I found a quote from you in my research that
Oh boy.
I've worked in the industry my whole adult life, and one thing that sets us apart is that all our sauces are made from scratch, not just Frank's Red Hot and butter. First of all, is that really like the reality at most restaurants? Is they're just doctoring up somebody else's sauce?
It is, yeah.
Gosh, that's embarrassing.
Yep.
Yeah, we've worked in the industry and worked in restaurants, and our sauces, they cost a little bit more to make, but I mean, you can taste the difference, and that's something we're going to always stick with.
Okay, so I would love for you guys to, and you can choose whatever sauce you want, but like break it down for me and tell me we're not doing Frank's Red Hot and butter. We're doing XXXX to make this sauce. Impress us here. Like, break down a sauce for me.
He's more the back of the house. I'll let him answer this.
All right, what do you got,
All
Dylan?
right, so we just kind of we'll start. We'll do the garlic parmesan. I gotta leave some things. I don't even want to take it. But, so you always start with like, okay, you have a mayo base, but then you start adding your honey, your roasted garlic. You start adding buttermilk, and then you're getting into you add a little bit of spices here, a little bit of spices there, and you kind of just put it all together and get the product that we serve. So it's just a lot of different ingredients that any restaurant would have. But it's just combining them in the right measurements to get what product we have.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Okay, take me into the double dipping. I know this isn't something that you guys invented. Like you said, other restaurants around Omaha have done it. Obviously, this was something that was done at Trax before you guys got there. But honestly, coming to Trax was my first exposure to the double dip. And I was just like, it was so cool because you get like that underlying level of heat. Well, I guess like the dominant flavor is that second wing flavor that you choose, I feel like. But then you kind of just get that little underlying heat that just creeps in a little bit. It's not too much.
Oh yeah.
But what's the strategy behind the double dip? What makes that so delicious?
You're making me excited about it. I kind of want to order some.
I know. Doesn't it sound good?
Oh yeah.
So just take me into that though. Like what's the secret to what makes the double dipping delicious?
Well, it's just that mixture of both, the uniqueness of it. You get, like you said, a little bit of the heat. You can even step up that heat too if we got those 3 levels of buffalo, and then you can even cool it down with the garlic parm. But the uniqueness of the buffalo garlic parm. Nowadays, I go to the store and they have dry rubs that are buffalo garlic parm, and it's like, they coming to Trax? Is Lowry's coming to Trax and stealing our product? But yeah, it's and then when we took over, Dylan made 2 other sauces: a mango habanero and a Thai peanut. But when you do my favorite is the Thai peanut. You get one of the buffalo sauces charred double dipped in that Thai peanut, so it's like a spicy Thai peanut. Oh my gosh, that is. And then like little crushed peanuts on top. It looks beautiful and tastes beautiful. Eat with your eyes first. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had that my first time. Yeah, just like that little bit of Asian flair, the sticky peanut butter, and then that little bit of underlying heat. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys, what I like about this, and we didn't even talk about, like, you're char buffing them as well. So you're getting a little bit of a smoky flavor. So it's like the crispy fried, the smoky flavor from the char buff, the heat from whatever buffalo you want, and then the unique wing flavor. Like it's this whole amalgamation of different flavors and textures coming together, and that's just something that I haven't experienced at a lot of other wing places. I think it's really cool.
Oh yeah. Another thing, we char buff them on our flat top. Am I telling too much?
Nah.
Okay. We char buff them on our flat top, opposed to a lot of places they put them on a grill grate. Mm-hmm. On the flat top, a lot of the sauce stays with it. On the grill grate, it kind of falls through and loses some of that first base, and then it
kind of locks it in more.
Yeah,
it doesn't get dried out, and then sometimes if you get too busy, then it's getting a little burnt on those type of grills, whereas the flat top's a little more forgiving and seals in all that flavor to then toss it into something else.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad we didn't cross any secrets boundaries there.
Yes. Well, we'll find out later.
So, how fun is it, like, for you guys to watch the different types of orders that people make, because like you allow people to be their own like flavor Picasso. Like you can choose any two, or I don't know, maybe you guys even let people do three like flavor combinations.
We've been there.
Oh yeah, we've got some customers out there that they'll be like, "Give me these three." You know what? Add that one on. It's like, oh, okay, we'll name that after you. Well, they want us to name it after them. I act like I will, but I won't.
Do people really request that?
Oh yes.
Yep.
Oh yes.
What's your favorite combination? Let's go there.
Probably that Thai peanut I was
Thai
talking
peanut,
about.
yeah.
I go with the hot buffalo as the base, charred double dipped into the Thai peanut. What about you?
Oh, I don't. That's kind of hard to say.
How about that new one you just came out
Yeah, that one's very good.
The hot honey umami.
Well, but it's kind of a spin-off of that with our garlic parmesan. So I toss it in the garlic parmesan, then it gets the umami seasoning, and then the hot honey on it. And I just did that this morning right before we came here. And
dude.
we both were just sitting there like, this is
We
great.
should have brought you some.
Oh,
should've.
yeah, now you're just teasing.
I did
us.
mention it. He said, no, let's bring him a shirt.
That's okay. You guys just give me another reason to come back in, as if
There
I
we
didn't
are.
have enough
See you
already.
tomorrow.
But I was already going to, I'm glad that you said that. I was going to ask you about that because I think that was, the hot honey umami was a new wing special that you guys had on special this weekend as we're recording.
Yeah,
How often are you playing around with new flavors and coming up with new ones as opposed to sticking to the standards, the tried and trues?
So it's kind of back to our place being small, like we were talking about, and it's just kind of moving forward. We have to kind of go with things that are like seasonings and things that I can just set a bottle on a shelf and kind of play with. So there's always things going on in the background of us trying sauces and experiencing new flavors and things and seeing if it works and if it doesn't, and just having fun, really. Yeah. I mean, that's where a lot of the flavor comes from, is having fun.
I think at the next location, the kitchen will be a little more forgiving on playing around with.
Yes.
We'll be able to mess around a little bit more, have a little more fun, but we're kind of limited on what we can do.
And there is a second location coming in 2025. West Omaha is about to get their taste buds rocked.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Is there a white whale sauce that you're trying to create right now? Like one that you're really excited about, or a flavor combination that you think would really go together, but you haven't quite been able to quite just get it perfect yet? Like, is there a sauce where you're just like, man, I want to crush that one?
We talk about so many different things and going down so many different avenues. I don't think we've really stopped on one of them yet to really narrow it down, but we got a lot of ideas coming, especially when we have more room.
We are in Nebraska, maybe a Dorothy Lynch one or something like that.
I don't
I don't know about that, but
Shout out to Dorothy
don't quote
Lynch.
me on that.
I love the homage to Nebraska. I don't know. I would try it.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
if
bet
it
I
would be
could
the
make
first
you
thing
one
I'd
you
order,
liked,
but yeah, I think you could come through, Dylan.
Well, we're in the Midwest. How about like a Malort wing or something?
Okay, now we've crossed the bridge
All
too
right.
far.
We're not going to get invited back.
Let's go back, rewind to that Dorothy Lynch one. I don't need any Malort in my wings. Okay, roasted chicken.
Yes.
You touched on this again, Mark, a little bit in the beginning, but so many people offer fried chicken. I think if you set that roasted chicken in front of someone, they would identify it as fried chicken. But what's the main difference in the cooking process? And in your mind, what's the difference in the final product between roasted versus fried chicken?
So the roasted, it like I said, it pressurizes the frying process, and it you get a chicken breast somewhere, it's usually pretty dry. Here, Trax, that white meat stays juicy. It really just seals in that juice. It it takes maybe a little longer, but it's worth the wait. One thing about our kitchen is some people complain it takes a little longer, but that's what we're here for, was kind of fixing the speed process up, which I believe we have, but good quality might take a little longer, and I think most people agree with that and are okay with that.
Something that impressed me too is before I even came in, I wanted to do my research. Like I was like, I'm going in, I'm getting the chicken, not fried chicken. I almost called it fried chicken. But I was like, okay, I want to know like what is the difference that I'm going to be tasting. So I did some research into it, and the chicken is supposed to absorb a lot less oil because it's not getting fried. So you're tasting less oil, more chicken. And maybe it's because I went in with that mindset, but I'm going to give you guys credit and say this is how it actually is. Like I was tasting more of that juicy chicken and not so much just batter and oil like any fried food. Like so many fried foods just kind of taste the same after a while.
Oh yeah.
This was like distinctly really, really good chicken, and I was super impressed by that. When you talked about speeding up the processes, what have you guys done since you've taken over the kitchen to knock down some of those wait times? And again, great food is worth waiting for. I'll say that time and time again. So and I think my chicken only took like 10 minutes. Like I'm surprised people complain about that. Well, people complain about everything. But what have you guys done to knock down some of those wait times and maybe just, I can't think of the exact word I'm looking for, but just really kind of hone in those processes in the kitchen?
I think a lot of it was really just techniques and processes that we trimmed down. We've worked at so many different places that it was always fast, quick, go, go, go. So we just knew kind of, I mean, not necessarily shortcuts, but way to expedite certain things, and then having the right equipment for the right job and kind of just getting everybody on the same page. It was just honestly a team effort on getting wait times, everything down, but then also like the correct products that go into some of our stuff. And like they had kind of an older system going on, and the recipes needed a little love, and we kind of just put everything that we knew and kind of made it to what it is.
Yeah, we had a couple bigger fryers too, and new broaster. We didn't know we were going to have to buy the new broaster right off the bat, but it was going to happen sooner or later, so might as well knock it off right away.
They're super cheap, so it was easy.
Yeah, very cheap. But yeah, he works magic in the back of the house, and he kind of, got the team, a little on board with a quicker process too.
So when you talk about updating those processes, and you even said, giving some of the recipes a little bit of love,
yep.
I imagine that is something that is really difficult as owners of new owners of an established restaurant, because
establishment.
Yes, you've got what people expect and what they love about a place for so long, and yet now you're on the back end of it, and you're like, okay, yes, we loved this too, but we also see ways to make it better. How do you balance that between not just making a bunch of changes right off the bat to where these diners are going to be shocked and they're going to be like, whoa, this isn't my tracks anymore, to making improvements to the restaurant overall? How do you balance that?
I think one of the things we kind of noticed was consistency. So like keeping everything consistent. When we took over, we were hearing a lot of like, well, one week it was great. The next week, someone else was making the sauce. So we kind of honed in on, what, guys, this is the recipe. This is the winner. Let's stick with this. And I think that kind of was huge for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's right where my head was. Yeah. That, and I mean, making everything to where there's less room for error, really.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have 10 different people making the same thing, each one of them is going to be different. So just really having one person making it and me making sure it's correct, and just really that's, yeah.
And what about the menu? I know you guys have said that you're limited, with kitchen size and freezer size and everything in terms of what you can add, but how do you balance, like, I'm sure, your mind is popping off with new wing sauces that you could put on all the time, or maybe there are some where you're just like, do we even need this anymore? Yeah. Like, how do you balance injecting yourself and your ideas into the menu, but also keeping the things that if somebody's been going to tracks for 40 years, they can come in and still recognize it?
Just a lot of cross-utilization. Just knowing what ingredients work for what things, trimming down some of the recipes to make all those ingredients work for 4 different things rather than just one. And the restaurant business is already hard as it is, so your margins are small. So just having the right, resources and the right costs to make 4 different things with using one product, really.
I agree.
Is there any menu item other than chicken that we want to highlight today? Because those are the 2 things that I hear about all the time, the wings and the roasted chicken. Not that the burgers or anything else isn't spectacular, but this is you guys' chance. This is your platform. Is there anything else on the menu where you're like, hey, this is a little bit slept on?
It's funny. We have so many regulars, and they get the chicken all the time, and every once in a while they'll be like, you know what, let me try a burger. And they try a burger, and they're like, holy crap, this is actually amazing. I would have never thought, the world's best chicken place would have a great burger. And we have some really good burgers. My personal favorite, well, I got 2, is the Swiss mushroom burger and then the Parmesan garlic burger. So we use our Parmesan garlic sauce.
Cross-utilization.
Yep. Cross-utilization. Yep. That's just so good on a patty. So that's one of our top sellers as well. We got a burger called the Drunken Sloppy. If you're super hungry, it's 2 burger patties with queso cheese, caramelized onions. So good, but it's like a 6-napkin kind of burger.
I was going to say, maybe don't eat that one for lunch on a work day.
Yeah.
You're just going to be sleeping at your desk.
Yes.
That's a good one for like a Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that, where you just want to spend the day on the couch.
Yep.
Okay, so I want to get into you guys' backgrounds a little bit. Mark, I know that you graduated from Metro, the culinary program, but going through just some articles that I found and from what I could find of your resume, it seems like you've worked a lot more front of house than back of house. What is it about your personality or your sensibilities that you feel like has made you gravitate towards the front of the house?
When I was at Metro in culinary school, I needed a part-time job to help pay the bills and pay for school and everything. So I started as a barback, and then I kind of gradually moved up as a bartender while I was still in school. And right at the end of school, I got offered a GM position, and I realized I was way too good looking to be in the back of the house, so I'd move up front. That's not true, but
you were a very good-looking man.
Don't be right back in.
Got a face for radio.
Yes, here I am on a podcast. But yeah, I kind of fell in love with interacting with people more, and I still love cooking, but yeah, front of the house was kind of where it's at, and kind of bounced around with the one company mainly, and then kind of bounced around a little bit. Lived in Iowa, opened a restaurant up there. Then the wife and I decided it was time to move back, and was working here, and then kind of tracks fell in our lap, and here we are.
Most of the chefs and restaurateurs I have on this show do tend to be more in the back of the house. So I think that this is a kind of a fun opportunity to talk to somebody who's more so out in the front. What are some skills, some personality traits, anything that you think make a successful front of house person? Like when you go to a restaurant, or I try and identify like what makes me good at this. What makes you say that person is really running a good front of house?
You got to be personal. You got to be patient. You got to be able to roll with the punches. Sometimes there's people that are just, you can't make happy, but you got to deal with it. But the great thing is there's so many great people out there, especially in Omaha. Dealing with them is great, and hearing their experience at restaurants, good or bad, hopefully good, but dealing with that is always fun. Working with staff up in the front, it's a stressful job, and keeping them sane is part of the gig. But yeah, it's also kind of nice. I've worked in the back of the house also, so if like one of the cooks goes down, I can jump back there and still hop up front too if that's what's needed. And Dylan's kind of the same. He's mainly been in the back, but he's got experience up front too, and he's good with people. I'm good with people, and yeah, we're kind of a good team, I think.
Yeah, good team.
I'd say so. You're making it work.
Yeah.
How did you get into cooking, Dylan?
Kind of got through into it. I had moved down to Lincoln after high school and kind of just needed a job, and then I kept putting 100% effort into it, and it just kept getting paid and moved up and, just kind of pushed in certain directions and got to work with Mark, and that kept me around for a while, and then he left me, but we won't talk about that. And then
he came back.
He did come back. He did come back. And I don't know. I just, honestly, it kind of just all happened. It's kind of weird to go back to that time in my life and think about it, because that's all I've done since for 14 years, 15 years. And I don't know. It was just a hobby, I guess, and then it turned into, well, if I'm going to do it every day, I might as well get good at it. And then it turned into me kind of getting obsessed about it and learning about it and learning different things. And even now, if I don't know something, I'll read books, I'll watch videos, and I will learn about it.
What caused that shift in your brain to the point where you were like, okay, I'm doing this to make money, to the point where, whoa, this is actually really cool, and I want to do this. Like, this isn't just a job to pass the time, but this might be my career.
I think there's just so many aspects that kind of kept me really involved, and because it's not only, at the end of the day, it's not just cooking, but it's like you got your creativity, you get to socialize with people, you get to do different aspects that all come together into things that aren't just, oh, you're a chef and you cook. I mean, you got numbers at the end of the day, you're doing inventory, you're doing payroll, you're doing things that, any day I can put on a different hat, and I'm an accountant, and I'm a banker, and then I'm a chef, and then I'm a bartender. It's just kind of fun. It's just, you got so many different avenues you can
And then
go
we're
down.
scrubbing toilets.
Then we're scrubbing toilets.
Yes.
And I'm a janitor.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of just kept evolving, and I just kept the passion there. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some days I want to just lay in bed and sleep all day, but got to go to work.
Yep.
That's what we signed up for.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you guys meet?
In Lincoln, we opened Tanner's out in Lincoln, and I was the GM, and then he hopped on board like a week after.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
started as a dishwasher.
Did you?
I had a lot of fun. I didn't even want to stop doing dishes, but then our kitchen manager left, and I took his job and kind of just kept going.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of bounced around with that group, and we worked at multiple places together and on and off, and helped at one place, the other place, and then, we decided it's time to own our own place.
Was that intentional that you guys kept moving together, or was it just like, hey, a new restaurant needs to open, Mark kills it in the front of the house, Dylan kills it in the back, we're moving both of them?
A couple times, yeah. I had I left Lincoln. My dad had a couple of health issues, so I ran his car wash for half a year, and that was interesting. But then, that same group asked me to come back after he got better, and so then a few Tanners, Tavern 180 out in Ankeny, Iowa, and then back home to Omaha, and here we are.
So what is it that you feel like draws you guys to each other? What makes you keep wanting to work together?
I can't work with somebody I can't laugh with every day, and we get along very well that way. He probably wants to strangle me sometimes, but
that's normal.
Yeah, that's normal, right? But yeah, the next day we're good to go, and making each other laugh and still working hard.
And I think trust plays a big thing too. I mean, we've seen everything and anything throughout our years, and having the trust and the faith that, okay, if I'm having an off day, I know Mark can pick up the difference, or vice versa. Like, it just helps. I mean, I kind of get why the old owner sold. It's a lot of work for one person, and we have 3 great people total to do one job that she was doing. So it really helps to split everything up and aspects like that.
Do you guys remember the first time that you went to Tracks just as diners?
I might not have been 21.
Don't incriminate yourself.
Yeah, it was Trackside at the time, and
right.
I was living with my brother, and I went there, and it was more of a bar at the time. The previous owner, she kind of made it more of a restaurant than a bar, and it was somewhere I didn't really care to eat. Let's just say that it was a Busch Light and a shot of Jack Daniels kind of place, and stumble home. I would walk there and stumble home, and then. But yeah, I ate there a few times, but then, in the past, decade, I would go there a lot just to eat. The wings were great, and roasted chicken was world's best.
What about you, Dylan?
I actually hadn't even heard of tracks until Mark and his brother decided, hey, let's maybe try to acquire this place. And then we all went and ate together. And I remember walking in thinking, wow, we are going to buy this place. And then it's been great. It's been great since. No, I mean, tracks is awesome. I think at the time I was almost in a cultural shock because tracks is tracks. And it ended up being great. I mean, we ate and the food was fantastic. I think I got a burger. I didn't get chicken.
Yeah.
I got a burger and it was great.
So how long did you and Justin have this dream or start having these conversations with the previous owner? I think you said a decade, but like when did it like become real? Like, hey, if this is actually on the table, we should consider this.
It was about 12 years ago. And then it was like every third year she'd contact us like, I think I'm ready. And then, nope, I'm not. And then another 3 years and our hopes would get high. And then, nope. And then finally she was definitely ready to sell. And we're like, don't tell anybody else. Let's just talk. And, sat her down and the numbers worked. And here we are.
So take me into the ownership side of things, because you guys have both worked in restaurants for a long time, but it's always been somebody else's concept. Now, this restaurant is your own, and like we've talked about, you can't dramatically change everything or you're going to lose a big chunk of your fan base, your devoted, loyal fans. But at the same time, you're the bosses now. Yeah. If you want to make changes, you can make changes. If you want to open a second location, you can open a second location. What has it been for you to actually be owners as opposed to executing someone else's concept?
Well, the first couple weeks, I think we were getting death threats if we would change anything. So we weren't planning on changing anything, but people were like pulling me aside. You're the new owner. You better not change this and that. I'm like, okay. That wasn't the plan. Maybe just keep it a little more consistent.
Yeah, calm down.
Yeah, but yeah, that was the first like month of being there. Was like just telling people we're not changing anything, just maybe fixing the plumbing and whatnot.
Yeah, important changes.
Yeah, important changes. Yeah, yep. Nothing to the menu.
So you announced in June 20th of 2023, I think is at least when the social media post went out.
That was the first day that we took over, actually.
Yep. So other than potential death threats, what was the reaction to that news? Because I know Trax has changed hands several times over the years.
Oh, yeah.
What was the reaction when it came out that, it's in our hands now?
I looked on Omaha Food Lovers like 4 hours after we made the post, and there was like 300 comments and 600 likes, and I was like kind of nervous. I was like, that's a lot of people interacting right now, and which is good. And also, I was like, we better be ready. So we opened the doors the next day, and it was good. A lot of people came in just to like meet us too, and give me the death threats and whatnot. But it was exciting and terrifying. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that because like. What is that balance of emotion for you guys, especially for you, Mark? Because this is something that you've been talking about and anticipating for a dozen years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been on your brain. This is a place that you have all kinds of core memories with. Like, it's really, really exciting to have this. But there's also that pressure that, man, we got to maintain this now. Okay. We have this thing that is almost 60 years old that people love. If we screw this up, it's going to be really bad. Like, where were your levels of excitement versus anxiety?
Both pretty up there. But yeah, I mean, Trax is kind of an Omaha staple, so that made it very exciting that we actually got in on it, and also terrifying that, what if we screw this up? But I know me and Dylan, and I know our work ethic, and people like us, and I didn't have too much doubt that we would fail. And now we're getting a second one.
How did you adjust to the space in that kitchen, Dylan?
Honestly, I didn't really have an issue with it. We've done so many restaurants and opens and I've walked into spaces and been told this is all you got to work with, make it work. And I'm ordering equipment that I have to cut half of it off to make it fit on the line. I mean, To me, it was really nothing. I mean, it has its problems, but if you can't change something, there's no point of really worrying about it. So I just kind of work around it and make it work.
So take me back. You said the day after that Facebook post was made, you had your doors open the next day. So June 21st, 2023, like when I bring that date up, what memories pop to the front of your mind?
Boy, still getting to know the staff, making sure they're sticking around. I told the previous owner, I was like, we're not getting rid of anybody. I'm not bringing in a crew. I want, everything to stay the same. Just hoping they would stay. I'm glad they did. Getting to know, we have so many regulars. I see people 2, 3, 4 times a week, and getting to know them. Hopefully they got to know me well, and that was always great. We inherited a good staff and a good clientele, but it was kind of terrifying that first week, especially.
Yep.
Learning the POS system, which that was pretty easy, but our staff helped us out so much with teaching us the recipes, teaching us how to ring stuff in, what sells, what doesn't. Just what we need to fix every morning that's broke. That was still kind of a thing, but we made it work.
What has surprised you most about owning this place now that you've had it for a year and a half? Could be
how many chicken wings can go in a tiny kitchen?
Yeah.
How many chicken wings do you guys go through in a day, week, whatever time period you want to give me?
We go through about 8,500 wings.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding.
It's a lot of poultry.
Well, right now that our patio is, because it's pretty seasonal out there and Nebraska likes to be cold, that's like half of our seating. So without that, it'll go down slightly. I'd say we'd still be in 6,000 range a week easily.
Holy cow. So, during peak season, we're talking 1,100 wings a day?
Oh, easily, yeah.
Out of that closet
we go
of a
through
kitchen?
Anywhere from 40 to 50 cases of wings in a week.
That's incredible.
June was super fun for the College World Series.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, really fun or, like, traumatizing fun?
I think I took a month off after. I think I'm still thinking it,
June. Still sore. But, we, the College World Series, there was, like, fan pages, especially from Texas A&M. Yep. They had a Facebook page, like, when they travel, they talk about bars and restaurants, where to go, and I guess we were on the top of their list, so we were kind of an A&M bar during the CWS, and it was just wild. From the time we opened the doors till the time we closed, it was just packed, and we had all other teams there too, which is cool. And baseball fans are typically pretty friendly, so there's friendly banter between everybody, and a lot of poultry going out.
A lot of poultry.
Yeah.
So, Trax existed for almost 60 years. Single location. I don't know if any of the previous owners had thought about expanding or not, but they didn't act on it. You guys have it for about a year and decide, yep, second location is happening. Like we mentioned, that's going to be out in West Omaha near 180th and Q. What made you guys say now is the time to expand? Trax has been in one location for so long, it needs to have a second one, and this is the right time.
Seeing a lot of people from like Elkhorn, Gretna, driving all the way to Trax, just picking up to-go food before they got to go pick up their kids, and telling us constantly, I wish there was a Trax out by where we lived. We drive all the way 30 minutes just to get wings every time, and wish there was a DoorDash that would come this far. And just the drive for it. A lot of people just constantly asking about it. Dylan and my brother Justin live out west, and they got friends out there. They're constantly asking them, like, you should open one out west. And you know what? Here we are. Let's do it. Are we crazy?
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think
that's what I need to do.
I mean, I don't know if some random podcaster who has no idea what your financials look like is the right person to ask.
Good.
But
I don't want to talk about it.
I'll tell you guys are doing a great job, and I love it.
Thank you.
I mean, it's kind of fun, too. We'll go somewhere even out of town. Like, I went to the Nebraska-Iowa game, and there was a group of 10, 12 people chanting Trax Lounge because I was wearing a Trax Lounge sweatshirt across the street. Yeah. I mean, you go, and it's just crazy. It's like, okay, I'm 3.5, 4 hours away, and they're chanting that. It's like fun. I mean, and we've been plenty other places out of town, and it's like tracks. Oh my gosh! Like, everyone kind of has a story there, and it's just fun. And we got a winning product, and we're good at doing it. And why not? We'll just see if it works.
So you guys have mentioned several times, as beloved and as like homey and awesome as the original location is, there are some drawbacks to it. Just its space, its age. There are things that you work around and things that make that place beloved. But now you've got this new location that you're creating right now, and you guys get to, to some extent, be the architects of that, and you get to decide what the kitchen looks like and where the fryers are, and you're not having to cut any equipment in half to get it going. And you get to arrange the tables for this is how service will work best. Like, what has that experience been like? Not just having to form fit yourselves into an already established space, but to get to create one of your own.
Oh, it's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, the best part.
Yeah, it's well, we are turning a daycare into a restaurant, so we got quite little different. We got quite the build out in front of us, but it's pretty exciting working with architects and whatnot about like the bar placement for me, tables up front. We're gonna keep the the horse theme feel. We can't exactly recreate a basement bar, but we're gonna kind of keep the feel of it though as much as we can. But yeah, it's exciting, kind of creating what we actually want and what can work, what would be easy to work with.
And what about you, Dylan, back in the kitchen? I mean, I'm sure it's not just you. You guys are collaborating on that, but as the main back of house, as you're helping to design that kitchen, what are some important like pillars that you're making to improve just service so you can cut down on times, make things better for staff?
Yeah, I mean, everything's definitely about the efficiency, but I mean, a lot of it's having the space to do those things. Like our walk-in won't be outside now. It'll be inside. We'll have more equipment because there's more room. And the difference in tables really isn't that. Like, it's double the space, but it's not necessarily going to be double the tables. Mm-hmm. So, like, we're able to get a product out faster. We'll be able to have more fun, creativity, the right, equipment. And it'd just be so nice not dealing with the certain problems we have at ours now, but that's okay.
Okay, so obviously we've got the second location, something we're very much looking forward to. I'm not going to put you guys' feet to the fire, especially because I know a lot of times you announce a date and it gets just pushed back and back and back. But general timeline, do we know when in 2025 West Tracks might be open?
Goal is April.
Yeah, okay. Let's say April 1st, so if it doesn't happen, we can just call it a joke.
Yeah.
Well done, Dylan.
Like that. Gotcha.
We'll just say... sometime in 2025, hopefully closer to the beginning of the year. But as you guys look, even further beyond that, 3, 4, 5, a decade into the future, what do you see as the future of Tracks?
Well, we've kind of talked about, multiple, keep it on going. We'll see how the second one goes, obviously. But I think, the end goal is maybe a few, 3, 4. Then, it'll be no lives at all. But
we just don't want it to lose its charm and what brings people in. So if there is more than what we're doing now, it'll be in like strategic places where it's covering that specific area. Like, I mean, nothing for sure, but like maybe like examples like one in Bennington because that's separate from where we have now. Like, just places that make sense and that it doesn't seem like, there's a Tracks on every corner. It's not really fun anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gotcha. All right, before we get out of here, I want to ask you guys 2 questions that I like to ask just about every guest that I have on here. First one, I just open our eyes as diners. What is one thing about the restaurant industry or just restaurants in general that you don't think diners understand, but you wish that they understood?
Everybody that works in a restaurant is human. People have their days on, days off. One thing about Tracks is we're such a small business. If I have one cook and one server that are, that get sick, it's hard to replace them like on the spot. So like things happen in restaurants. I mean, other than that, people are human. Stop writing bad reviews.
I think a lot of it too is the cost of goods. People think you raise prices just because you want to raise them and it goes to us, but in reality, it's just trying to get to an equal so that it's fair for the customer and fair to us. Because everything in this world right now is not cheap and goes a long way.
Yeah, and when the Super Bowl comes around and the wing prices skyrocket, just remember that, everybody.
Yeah, we had, a good example is when we took over, a case of wings was $67. Right now you're getting them for $130. And that was
seriously, it's doubled in a year and a half.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We didn't change the prices, so it double cost us, but nothing to the customer. And it's got to be a little give and take at least with like comprehending certain things in that aspect, I suppose. I get both sides of it, so it's tough to do, but
yeah. And going back to what you said, Mark, I think I can just tell from talking to you guys, like you're open-minded, accepting people. Like if someone comes to you and they have a problem with something, don't write a review on Yelp or hop on one of the Facebook groups and trash a restaurant. Actually go to the people who made your food or who own the establishment, whatever, who could actually make a change and say, hey, I thought these wings were a little more cooked than I would prefer. Whatever the issue might be, bring it to the owners who can actually make a change and make a difference versus yelling online, because yelling online helps no one.
Oh, yeah. Like, I love all feedback, good or bad. Every restaurant can always improve. So if we get that negative feedback from the guest, you know what? I'm going to teach my staff, like, let's do it this way. This is how we improve that. But positive feedback's always better, though, too. But, I wish they would just come to us first instead of going straight to social media. But, it's 2024.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Now, but I want to get you guys out of here on a positive note. What is your favorite part about being a part of the restaurant industry?
Me personally, I just love people, interacting with people, getting to meet new people every day. I'm nonstop talking. For instance, my wife gets annoyed every time we go out because I'm always talking to somebody, and she's like, "Oh, come on, Mark." No, not all the time, but maybe we cut that out. But yeah, just interacting with people, I think, is my favorite part about it.
Honestly, I really would have to agree. I'm usually always stuck in the kitchen, so when I'm not, it's fun to like go up there and I'll pour a beer for someone. Might be the wrong beer, but I'll pour a beer for someone, and it's always fun, the interactions and getting to see that aspect of it, and it's just fun. People are great.
Well, you guys' joy for the industry and for what you do, it shows both in how you talk about it and in just the product that you put out. And people, don't be like me. Like I was that person who kept hearing about tracks. I've lived in Omaha almost my entire life for 34 years and hadn't gone here. And like I came in with a friend and we had the wings, and like I took a couple bites of the wings and I just wanted to just slap myself and be like, "You dummy. You have had this place like right here your whole life and you haven't gone here." So if you've been to Tracks, you know how good this place is. If you haven't been to Tracks, this is your siren call. You've heard these guys talk about it. For whatever my opinion's worth, I fully endorse it. Go see them. Dylan and Mark, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, thank you. This was awesome. Yeah. I was so excited when you asked us about this. So. Thank you.
I'm glad that we could make it happen.
Thank you.
Omaha, as always, thanks for eating with us.